Hello and welcome to another edition of ESC Fan TV. Tonight we're going to be looking at Sweden and Norway, but don't forget we're also going to be looking at Finland, Iceland, Moldova. This is a super Saturday if ever there was one. Don't forget, click the like and subscribe buttons. Don't forget as well, if you want to listen to us on the way to work on Monday morning, you've got Stitcher, that's Stitcher, not Snitcher. Plus, you've got iTunes, you've got TuneIn that you can download this on afterwards as well. Well, what a night it has been. Tonight, we're going to start straight away with Sweden, where Andra Chanson was the order of the day. Now, some people may think Second Chance is actually something that, is it just final filler? In actual fact, let me tell you now, listeners, it is not. Robin Sternberg in 2013 went to the final through the Second Chance system and actually won, representing Sweden with the song You in Eurovision. And then last year in the Second Chance, Felix Sandman went on to come second in the Melodifestivalen Grand Final as well. Now, as Euro fans, you should know there were 4 duels taking place. And the first duel this evening was Andreas versus Anna Bergendahl. Let's go straight in to Gustav. He's an ESC Fan TV newbie. He's from Sweden. Good evening, Gustav.
Hello.
First duel this evening, Andreas versus Anna. What did you make of this duel?
Yeah, first of all, let me just say that you would have me really pissed if Anna didn't qualify. So that's where I stand on all of it. But I am a big fan of Anna. So yeah, that was almost it. It was Anna all the way for me.
Are you still singing that refrain? Because that's the one thing that is constantly going in through my head. Like, ashes to ashes.
Yes.
Is she going to win next week?
No, she's not going to win. And I'm quite happy about that because it would be nerve-wracking to see her go to Eurovision once again. So, yeah.
Well, it would be nice to see her lay the old ghosts to rest, though, don't you think?
True. But still.
Okay. But still, her chances are, well, we know we've got John Ludwig, we know we've got Victoria, Malu, and a whole host of others as well in there as well for next week. Moving on to our correspondent from Australia. G'day, Mitchell.
G'day, mate. It's Shirley calling.
First duel this evening, Andreas versus Anna. What were we thinking? Was this as expected for you?
Yeah, I gave it to Anna. And I'm glad Anna won. I always saw Army of Us as kind of like a U2 sound, like he could be the Swedish Bono or something. And I always saw Ashes to Ashes as a mix of Jolene and You're So Vain. I don't know why. The song grew on me the second time around. So that was my winner. And
is she going to win next week?
Well, you're competing with a bunch of other big songs. I'm not sure. I think it might get in the middle. I'm not sure.
It could be. Personally, I would like to see Anna lay the ghosts to rest. I think, along with most other people, I had Anna down as tonight's winner in that duel. The song is very catchy, and it's typical Anna Bergendahl with that style as well, which is, a winner in my eyes. Now, the second duel of the evening was between Vlad and Nano. Nano went on to win this. Need to say good evening to Stuart.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Hello. Now, Vlad versus Nano. Am I right in having this sneaking suspicion that this was an upset in your eyes this evening?
I thought so, yeah. I thought Vlad had this in the bag. I thought his vocals were a little bit shaky, although weirdly, I was reading the MelFest Twitter, and they were saying that he thought this was his best performance ever. I thought he was a little bit shaky vocally, but his performance was on point. I thought he had a very good chance of beating Nano. I thought this could be the song that beats Nano. Nano was a big favourite to win MelFest a few years ago. And do you know what? He didn't. Nano won. Bit of a surprise for me.
And was this a surprise for you as well, Phil and Michelle?
Not really. When Blood started, I thought it was okay, but the song just was a bit monotone, and I thought his vocals were a bit shaky in places. Whereas I don't think you can say that about Nano. That was a good performance. It was the better song. Not necessarily my cup of tea, but it was the better of the two.
And it was Plastic Jacket Lad or Poor Man's Rag and Bone Man again. I didn't care. I did not care one iota who won this. I thought they were both shocking, absolutely shocking.
You know what? I'm going to bring Gustav in on this. Gustav, do you think that this, and I'm going to push this opinion towards you, that this was the weakest duel of the four that was presented this evening?
Yes, it was the weakest one. To be honest, I don't like any of the songs in this duel. But I was team Vlad.
Stuart is currently doing a victory sign.
Yeah, Vlad is charming. We need some charm in the final. Sadly, we didn't get it.
It's confirmation I have good ears, Tom.
Debatable. This is the person that championed Dolly style. Now, it is also interesting to know, and I don't know whether this would play a part in the Swedish voting. But on the Twitter feed, it was actually mentioned that Nano cancelled all his press this week for family reasons. And that was because there was a car crash involving one of his family members. We could speculate it. It's not our place to speculate it, but he did actually say, love you, little brother, at the end of his performance this evening as well. Okay, so our thoughts actually go out to his family for that. And hopefully, they'll be with him watching in the final next week. Nano taking the 7th slot in the Melodifestivalen final next week. Now, the third duel of the evening, Martin Sternmark versus Lisa Ajax. Now, I need to give some people some fascinating facts on this one. Obviously, Martin, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, got through to Andra Chanson, whilst his sister-in-law, Lena Hedlund, went straight through to the grand final with victorious. Lena saying that she was voting for him tonight, but the family connections not to be beaten actually exist in Lisa Ajax's song as well. Lisa Ajax's song was actually written by Isa Molin, and her father is Bobby Lundgren. I've probably not pronounced that right, but he's written Anna's song Ashes to Ashes. So the family connections do spread far and wide. I thought this potentially was one of the strongest duels of the Andra Chanson this evening. Going to say good evening to Joanne. Joanne, were you watching Martin versus Lisa? Did you think that the right result came out of this one?
Yeah, I did actually. I mean, I had my suspicions Martin may get through, only because of his popularity, because he's well known. But then, of course, Lisa is as well. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of Lisa's song, but she did sing it really, really well. And I do think that the right one went through in the end. Absolutely.
Now, I'm just going to bring Martin in on this. Good evening, Martin.
Good evening. You all right?
I'm okay. Now, are you someone who is a fan of Lisa Ajax? And do you agree with this? This is what went on Twitter before the performance this evening. And she said, I think people may have to listen to my song one more time to really grasp my song. Do you reckon that's a fair comment on Lisa's song?
Possibly. It was better tonight than it was in the semi-final that she was in originally, because she just about got the high note as well. Problem is, if you've got to listen to it more than once, it's obviously not going to be going through to Eurovision, because it's, you know, you don't have growers don't work. So it's a good song. She performed it really well, and she did it perfectly tonight, and I think probably just about deserved to win this one, although Martin was probably the best, well, maybe not one of the best runners up, so to speak, of the duels. I think he did pretty well. He performed it well, but yeah, I think Lisa's was better at those.
Now, just going to bring Elliot on this. Surely Martin Sternmark deserved to get through with just the song title alone. Translates as "Let the Shit Burn" in English.
Well, if he refers to the shit as the blouse he wore in the semi-final, then yes, that has burnt somewhere, and I'm glad. But this was, for me, this was the weakest duel because neither song really sold it to me. As I messaged Stuart during... I am bored, dead or alive, I am bored.
Do you know what, Elliot? Can you just repeat that? Because we had a little bit of technical difficulties just during that.
Yeah. No worries. Like I said, I didn't enjoy this duel at all. Didn't like Martin's song. I found it a bit done repetitive. Didn't like Lisa's song for the same problem. The fact she has to say, give it one more chance, is a major red flag in Eurovision. Major red flag. And as I said to Stuart, whilst the performance is going on, I changed the lyrics to, I am bored, dead or alive, I am bored. It proves it because Lisa's going second, and I never understood where the hype where this should win came from. I'm sorry, I don't get it.
Interesting. Do you know what? I'm going to go to Stuart on this because I know Stuart has been a massive fan of Lisa Ajax for one reason or another.
Yeah, the trouble is, every time I back a song, it seems to do really badly, Tom. Yeah, I think Lisa Ajax is a Eurovision winner in the making. She's not doing it with this song. She's got such a fantastic voice. One thing different from her semi-final performance tonight, she brought the emotion, which we didn't see last week. This for me was an absolute 100% qualifier of the two. I thought she was night and day from Martin Steinmark, who Martin I love. I loved Las Vegas at Eurovision. This, however, was night and day. 100% the right choice.
Interesting. And Gustav, bringing you in, was it the right choice?
It was the right choice. I don't like Lisa Ajax, but I love the song. I love the song from the first time I heard it. So, yeah, it was the right choice.
You know what? Go on, carry on, sorry.
Even though I really don't like Lisa Ajax.
I have to say, she did sell the song a lot more this week. I'm still not a fan of the way she stages it, though, because I think the lights at the back totally distract from her performance, and there needs to be another way of doing it. I can understand why they're there, but I don't actually think it really works for her. It'll be interesting to see if she changes anything around next week.
Can I just make a final point on Lisa Ajax? I have a theory as to why she hasn't cracked MelFest yet. Her issue is, since she's done Idol, her singles and her MelFest entries are polar opposites. She did Blue Eyed Girl, which was an up-tempo pop song, which was great. Then she did MelFest. Then she's gone down R&B singles, and all her songs have been ballads since. Her MelFest songs aren't her. It does feel like she's given a song to sing, and I think that's the issue, because it doesn't fit with her back catalogue.
That's an interesting point, and it'll be interesting to see, actually, if, as expected, she doesn't represent Sweden in the Eurovision, and she is just makes up the places next week. If she comes back next year or maybe the year after with a song that she has more ownership over, and only time will tell with that one.
Can I just make a final point on that, Tom? Lisa Ajax, if she ever listens to this video, your song Gimme That, Gimme That, go listen to that on Spotify. That's the song she should be sending to Eurovision. That will win Eurovision. Back to you, Tom.
Okay, now the final duel of the evening. It was Rebecca Carlson versus our big Nana, and I'm sure I still don't actually pronounce that properly in any way, shape, or form. But let's be honest, this was possibly the duel of the evening, and I can actually tell you that with the votes, the highest number of votes received by a non-qualifier this evening went to Rebecca Carlson, who got nearly 800,000 votes in the public vote. Now, I'm going to go to Yerna with this one. Good evening, Yerna.
Good evening. Hello.
Hello. Now, Rebecca Carlson and the song I Do, sung by the other group that I'm not actually going to attempt pronouncing anymore. What one was the winner for you this evening?
It was a tough choice because I like both of them. I like the 4 guys or 3 guys. I don't know. I think it was 3. Yeah. I like 3 guys, but I also liked Rebecca. So actually, I would have been happy with both of them. So I'm happy.
So either way, it's a winner in your eyes. I've come across to Mitchell. Do you think Rebecca should have gone through?
My choice was Rebecca. Although, having said that, out of the females, I thought she was maybe one of the weaker ones. I did like the song. I thought that it progressed well, but I thought at the end she was rather pitchy from the performance that I'd seen. She kind of moved from note to note in the high sections with a lot of hard work, and I thought she was a bit pitchy. But yeah, the only problem I had with I Do was I always thought it sounded more like a tribute kind of song, like a, going back in time kind of thing. But I understand the appeal, and I know one of my aunties would really like this song. She goes to like Eagles concerts and all that kind of stuff, so I think this is up her alley. So I could see the audience for it. Yeah.
To be fair, I did pick up the lyrics of I Do very quickly. It's a very, very easy to sing along song. Just gonna go to Gustav on this. One of the things with Rebecca's act this evening, she changed her background, she added pyrotechnics to it. Do you think maybe there was an element of trying too hard to push herself over the line in the face of an act that, dare I say it, was traditional almost in a way?
I think that she was indeed trying a bit too hard. The thing was that in Sweden, it was quite obvious that Arvingarna would go through. So I think she did everything to try to take that place, but it was still obvious that Arvingarna would win this one, even though I gave her 5 votes just out of pity.
Oh, does this mean that you just gave her 5 votes out of pity, and therefore you gave Arvingarna more votes? Or
no, actually I just voted for her because I felt bad for her. I wanted her to go through.
And do you know what? And I think she would have made a great closing act as well, because it does feel it's going to be interesting to see how it works with Arvina closing the show next week. I think that could be. Go on.
I think it was quite an obvious choice. If you look back at the previous closers, we had Boogeyman Blues a couple of years ago and stuff like that. So I think it was kind of obvious, actually.
Okay, now I know one man who absolutely loves Arvigna, has been singing it all the time. We can hear him singing in the shower, miles away. Stuart, Arvigna, I do or I don't?
It's a big I do for Arvingana. It's taken us back to '93 and Eloise, isn't it? It's an Eloise for 2019. That's what it is. I was never a fan of Rebecca Carlson at all. Never liked the song. She's got a great vocal. Love her. The song sounds far too generic for me. And if you get a generic song up against a Schlager classic in the making, I'm always going to pair for the Schlager classic, Tom.
And that's nothing to do with the fact that you've been drinking, I'm sure. Now, Stuart, you are also monitoring the chat room this evening. Don't forget, guys, if you have any comments, then do put them in the chat box. We'll post them to the panel throughout the show. Stuart, what's the chat room abuzz with this evening?
Well, there's a lot of talk about Portugal, Tom, so I think we're going to be getting to some good discussion later. The Portuguese finals, we know, is ongoing. In fact, it finishes at about 6 a.m. Central European time. It goes on for nearly 12 hours. So there'll be some good discussion later, and many of the Portuguese fans will be up all night watching this one, Tom. Back at you.
Okay. Now, the final thing to say about Melodifestivalen is that the running order for next week is actually announced. And for those of you that haven't seen it, whilst I have no fancy graphic, I can tell you the opening song goes to John Henrik. You've then got Lisa Ajax, Mohombi, Lena Headland, Bishara, Anna Bergendahl takes the 6th slot, followed by Nano. Then we've got Hannah and Liamu, Malu, John Ludwig, Victoria, and then finally, as we've already said, closing the show, is Arvigna with I Do. Still can't pronounce it right. Elliot, coming to you, do you think this running order is going to dent any chances certain people have of winning Melodifestivalen next week?
I now need to get the running order up for myself.
Ah.
There we go. Yeah, I think it's obvious John Henrik's not going to win. Opening the show, I actually predicted 8th down pretty spot on. I knew John Henrik and Victoria were put next to each other. I knew they are the two head-to-head, so it's very similar to 2016 Victoria was a contender, where she went straight after Flans, and it's obvious they were meant to be the two that were fighting. So I think that's the way Krista Bjorkman's may kind of gone, these are the two, which do you want? I think Malu has just been sacrificed, being put between Hannah, Liamu, then her, then Victoria, then John. I just think she's been thrown in there, which is a shame. Yeah, I do think this has dented a lot of people's chances, and it just confirms that I think the only 3 that can or will win will be Hold You, Too Late for Love, or Not With Me. And I really want it to be Hannah and Liamu, because I want Sweden to take a risk.
Interesting. Gustav, what would you like to see the winning song be next week?
Let's just remember that number 6 is kind of a lucky number in Melodifestivalen.
This is true, very true.
We have Loreen and Måns from that number. So a guy can hope, but I think it's going to be between Hannah, Liamu, John, or Victoria.
Okay. Now, do you know what? I'm going to open up a bit of discussion here, and I'm going to come to Stuart, I think, for this. Malu actually won her semi-final. And in actual fact, if I'm right in thinking, she actually won the semi-final up against Hannah and Liamu as well. Do you think Malu can be written off as easily next week?
Well, I don't know. She won the semi-final. They pick the 2 singers in random, I think. So I don't know whether she won it or whether Hannah and Liamu won it. I'd have to go to Gustav for that, because I couldn't tell you. I think Hannah and Liamu are way above Malu. And do you know what? I'm not going to give too much away, Tom, because I want to wait till Wednesday's show when we're going to review this properly. But I think that Sweden have got a very strong final this year.
This is true. And Gustav, can you confirm that for us?
Yes, it's in random order. Yeah.
It's random order.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you want to, Stuart, quickly trail Wednesday's show? You've alluded to it. We will trail it, of course, at the end.
Absolutely, yeah. Wednesday's show, don't miss it. It will be fire. We will be talking Sweden Melodifestivalen, the final preview. We will go through all 12 songs. We will discuss the potential winners, the potential losers, and why Sweden should take a risk and potentially go on to win Eurovision in Tel Aviv, so we can all go back to Stockholm and have such a fantastic party in 2020. Back to you, Tom.
Okay, now moving on to some of the more interesting song picks of the evening. I'm going to go straight to Joanne now. I know Joanne's been tuning into Iceland this evening. What went on this evening in Iceland?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the winner, when you say interesting, yeah, Hatari won. They were actually really good, but I mean, I know I did have a few technical problems at one point, but they were amazing. And they were in the super final in the end with the even better, or is good, Fredrik Omar right?
Yeah.
As of Euroband. Yeah, and he was fantastic fantastic as well. Surprise, Hera didn't get in to the super final, but she was very gracious. Certainly when Frederick was picked over her, she was very, very gracious. I was shocked, but at the same time, you know, the crowd were just absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved the fact that they won. So yeah, good one, Iceland. They're taking a risk, put it that way.
Are they going to qualify out of their semi-final?
Do you know, I think they could just do that, if I'm really honest, especially because of when we thought AWS wouldn't qualify last year and they came out and qualified. They're different. They're not to everyone's taste, obviously, but yeah, I think that some are going to go, oh, this is different. We're going to wait for them. So yeah, I do think they will.
Okay, going to pull some other people in on this who watched Iceland this evening. Jörna, were you tuning into Iceland this evening?
Yes, I was. I was switching it up with Norway, but I watched Iceland as well. My favorite was actually Hera, because she sang it really beautifully, and I was a bit surprised she didn't go through to the super final. But yeah, the winner is not my cup of tea. It'll be my last place for the remaining of the year. Sorry, I just don't like it. It's not my genre. I think if Iceland comes on in the first semi-final, I'm gonna take a toilet break. Sorry.
Interesting. Guys, let's get the views of other people on the panel. Hatari, is it a yay or a nay? Martin, yay or nay for Hatari?
I think this is probably going to be in a similar position to how people were viewing Lordi all that time ago. That I think when they sort of qualified in Finland, people were probably thinking, is this going to bomb or is this going to do really well? And I think this is what the thing with Hatari. It's either going to be not catch the imagination at all and bomb, or it could do really, really well. And I can't say either way, but there's a certain thing about watching them, not only on stage, but when you see them off the stage, they have this two persona act going on, that they're sort of drinking tea and they're being very polite when they're off stage and then really in your face on it. And I think that the press will pick up on Hatari. I wouldn't be surprised if some bits of the press will pick up on Hatari now, and it'll be in the news, you know, around Europe now, that this band dressed in S&M gear with the guttural growls is going to Eurovision in Tel Aviv. And I think that this could be a story that builds and builds, and they could end up being one of the favourites to win at Tel Aviv, possibly.
Could be. Don't forget 2009, you know, Iceland came second. 1999, Iceland came second. It's 2019.
I'd like to win. I'd like to go to Iceland.
Could it be Reykjavik 2020? Phil and Michelle, I don't know if you've listened to the Icelandic song by Hatari yet, but what are your general views on an act like Hatari going across to Eurovision?
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's about time more countries took a risk and stopped sending the same old fodder and put something different through that will stand out.
Yeah, plus in the semis, me and Phil can dress up.
Yay! Yay.
You do realise we'll need to see photos.
Well,
just
you can have an outfit as well.
I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be safely in the UK. I'm not going to Tel Aviv. Have you had a chance to listen to the song yet, or not?
Not really. No, I've heard a bit of a clip, but not really. I'm afraid,
but we like the weirdos.
Yeah,
I liked Hungry last year, so you know I don't mind that sort of stuff.
Brilliant. And do you know what? I'm going to have to go across to Stuart. Have we got any comments on Hatari in the chat room, Stuart?
Yeah, we've got Simon says Iceland will be Marmite, which I think suggests that either some will love it, some will hate it. But just a point on Iceland, you know, it's one of those countries we've never been to. And I don't mind the idea of sipping cocktails in the Blue Lagoon right about May time. Sounds good to me. Iceland all the way. I'm on the Iceland train, Tom. Let's do this.
Fantastic. Now, from one Scandinavian country on the western side to an eastern Scandinavian country, Finland also selected its act this evening. And one of the people watching that this evening was Elliot. Elliot, what happened in Finland tonight?
Well, Darude and Sebastian Lehmann sang the 3 songs they've been releasing. And then the jury voted and Televote voted, and we had a winner, just like how they did with Sarah last year. Krista had about 8 outfits, I think I counted, throughout the hour and a half. Pretty sure there was 8, ranging from a 2-piece with a Superman cape to a massive ball gown, to her also opening the show with a song dedicated to cats, which I loved.
Okay.
Find it on YouTube, it's up there already. But in the end, and Look Away won, getting every single 12 points from the international juries, and then doubling the televote score of 2nd place.
So Finland are going off to Tel Aviv with the song Look Away. Will you be looking away when this goes on stage?
Yes and no. I mean, for me, none of the 3 songs were that brilliant, and none for me were as good as Sala's 3 entries last year. Look Away, I think, had the best beat when you think of Darude. It had the very much EDM sort of sound, but the lyrics are a bit preachy, for lack of a better word. But the staging's cool. Like, Sebastian's on a treadmill, Darude's in a cube, there's a woman on top of the cube rotates. It's quite clever. I think it's a definite show opener, but it also screams 11th place in the semi-final. So I'm not sure if Darude is going to do that well, but... And also Sebastian tonight, I don't know what happened, but his voice was just off in all 3 songs. He sounded flat, then he sounded quiet. He did sound better for Look Away, shockingly, but I don't know if it was just nervous about having to sing 3 songs or what, but something was off tonight, and it was just a bit of a shame. But everyone seems happy that Look Away won as well online, and the Finnish public are happy, and the international jury loved it, so it's clearly the right song made to go with.
Okay, so potential non-qualifier from Finland, maybe. Mitchell, going to come across to you. Have you had a chance to listen to the Finnish entries at all?
No, I was just all Norway this morning.
All Norway. I tell you what, I know a man who has, and I'm sure Martin was bopping away to Darude's Sandstorm in the 1990s. Is this going to be Finland's year?
No, I agree with Elliot. None of the, I mean, the music behind all 3, yeah, I thought, oh yeah, this sounds fine, but yeah, the lyrics to all of them were not that good. In fact, lyrically, I preferred Superman, but I think Elliot's right that what has actually won is probably the best one to send. But as for whether it's going to get through, I'm not so sure. But hey, if you're in Tel Aviv, I'm sure that the Finnish party is going to be the best one around. So.
This is true. They'll have Sandstorm on the decks, I'm sure. Now, also picking their entry this evening was Moldova. And I do believe watching Moldova this evening was Yerna. What happened in Moldova this evening, Yerna?
Well, I didn't watch it like really closely because my live stream was lagging, and so I switched to another country. But it wasn't that special, I think. My favorite didn't win, I know that. The winner was actually my 5th place, I think. It was okay, not bad, but I think another one would have been better. I don't know the name anymore. But yeah, it's nothing special for me. Sorry, Moldova.
Oh, and that's, do you know what? And that's a shame because we've had Sunstroke Project, we've had
Yes,
Doridos as well.
they had such good entries the last 2 years, and I was like, if they keep this up, they can end in the top 10 again. But I don't think so.
Oh, Stuart, I'm going to come to you on this as well. Stuart, Moldova, is this going to be a stalling of what seemed to be quite a almost like a Eurovision powerhouse in the making?
Well, Tom, yeah, they have been. The momentum's been building with Moldova, but based on what we heard on our review show a week or two ago and what they've picked this evening, I fear Moldova may have lost the momentum they've been building. I'm not personally a fan. I'm sure there are many that will be, but like and I think this may be an also ran at Eurovision. Sadly,
and it is sadly because, as we've said, some of those acts are brilliant. Now, another big moment of the evening was Norway picking its act. The Melodi Grand Prix took place this evening, finishing just before we came on air tonight. There were 10 songs competed, 10 songs, got whittled down to 4, got whittled down to 2. There's only one winner. We're going to take the songs in turn. And first up tonight was Chris Medina, who sung the song We Try. Was this a trying song or was this a delightful song? Phil and Michelle, what were your views on this?
It didn't really do it for me. It was jolly enough, but it sort of sounded like a million other songs. I didn't think it was quite hitting the high notes. And there did seem to be a lot of songs with dancers flapping their arms around madly, and this was one of them. There were loads of them tonight. All this stuff going on. And it kind of, I thought it was sort of masking or trying to distract from songs that were a bit weak. Not for me.
Well, I quite liked it. I thought it was a nice beat song. He sang it okay. The staging was okay. It was a good effort. But it was first, and it was a very long time ago. So it feels like it was a week ago since I heard this song.
And Elliot, were you around watching Melodi Grand Prix? Did you see Chris Medina's performance?
I did watch Melodi Grand Prix because I normally do really enjoy the Norwegian selection, and it was quite exciting seeing Chris Medina, announce, he's an American, he won American Idol, I think he won it, or he did very well on it, quite a big name. This song starts off with a lot of promise, and then it became very cheesy and repetitive, and that's how the staging felt as well. And he wasn't doing like falsetto, but he was going quite high in parts, and I wasn't a big fan of that, so I don't mind the song, but it just didn't do it for me in the end, sadly. And, Norway's selection is so tough as it is. If you're not perfect, to be brutal, you will get knocked out quite early on.
And do you know what? This is true. And I do think that this certainly didn't have an impact. I know Stuart was, to coin a phrase, inflicting it on the unsuspecting people in his household. Was this something that made them dash for the remote?
No, actually, Chris Medina was one that everyone quite enjoyed. I thought the dancer was a bit distracting, however. But the song's nice. He's nice. He's a good singer. It was a good opener. But when you've got 10 songs in a national final and it takes 2 and a bit hours to get through it all, if you're in songs 1 to 5 or 1 to 6, it's rare that you do very well. And we saw that tonight. The 2 super finalists were the final 2 songs of the night.
They were, although what I would say is that, of course, for me, one surprise package was D-Sound. That was song number 2 with the song Mr. Unicorn. Unicorns being a fictional animal. I've put light, white, nice enough. Joanne, was this something that was a surprise to you that it did so well, or was this a song that you thought was up there with the best?
Yeah, I mean, when I first listened to the songs when they first came out, it was one that caught my sort of eye, so to speak, or ear, and then I sort of forgot about it because that's the kind of song it is. The performance I think they did really well, and I think the staging with the boxes and sort of the lights sort of going on and off, and I actually think that caught the imagination, and that's probably where the juries, they did really, really well with the international jury, and I think that was the reason. Certainly wasn't sung badly at all. It was sung really well. So yeah, I wasn't surprised after seeing it, but I was. If you'd have asked me 2 weeks ago, I'd have thought, nah, it's not going to get anywhere. So I was surprised it got into that last four. Yeah.
And Mitchell, was this a surprise for you?
Not particularly. I was surprised I liked it. As soon as it started, I was like, this is really bizarre. And I feel like it's wrong that I love this song. Maybe it's a guilty pleasure. Just pay no mind to the lyrics because it just makes no sense. The melody and the music were on point for me. It's a great dance song, very celebratory. I was impressed by the tricky stage to screen work. And then other times as that went on, it just became a bit of a stress fest for me as a viewer. Yeah, I liked the hooky Mr. Unicorn bit. It was a high note and she sang it really well and they all worked together really well. Maybe my only advice would be that she could have let loose a little. Sometimes these people, when they compete, they kind of stick to the script of the melody, and sometimes it's just nice to show you're not a robot. So that would be my only thing. But no, I quite liked it. It stuck with me at the end, and I know people were shocked that it was doing well in the jury, but I could see why the jury liked it, and I could see why the public forgot about it.
Yeah, and do you know what? It was a tale of two halves, I think, for them this evening. Now, the third song was sung by Morland and Livryd Man. Now, something to note about this, obviously, Morland, being no stranger to Eurovision, took part in Eurovision in 2015 with Deborah Scala and the song Monster Like Me. This was presented, I thought there were almost like undertones of 1997, particularly when the song started and you had the TVs on sort of like in the background. And if anyone's seen Radio Televiserin's staging of the 1997 contest back in the dawn of time, you'll understand what I mean. Martin, Morland, what did you think?
For me, it was the big shock of the evening. I expected this to be in the final two with KEiiNO all the way along, and I was totally flabbergasted that A, it only got one jury vote, and B, that it didn't even appear in the final four, because it was a great song. It was the only one that had the balls almost to go with Norwegian as the language. Great storytelling, lots of dancers, which probably detracted a little bit from it. And it didn't help that there was a camera, the handycam man was in the shot partly for the long shot. But yeah, I mean, he did everything right. So I'm at a loss as to why it didn't do better than it did. And there's a couple of people I've been talking to online elsewhere, and they can't understand that why D-Sound and one of the other, well, the one who ended up in the final with KEiiNO, how they managed to get so far and this one didn't. So there you go.
And you raise an interesting point there, and I'm going to bring Gustav in on this. Morland was one of the very few entries to sing in Norwegian this evening. Do you think that had an impact on how well he actually did?
Now you give me a hard question. It might have. Personally, I kind of understand Norwegian, so I love this song. It's really meaningful if you understand the lyrics, and yeah, maybe. I don't have much more to say. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just always interested me because the Scandinavian countries always send their entries primarily in English, and therefore I'm thinking, would you prefer to see you send more songs in like Norwegian or Swedish or so on?
I would have loved to see a song in Norwegian, you know, since Skam, the TV series, Norwegian is really big in Scandinavia. So it would have been great, actually.
Okay, and do you know what? I'm going to go to Stuart for this one, but Stuart, be warned, you're going to get a double dose of this because I'm coming to you for the next one. We're gonna go for Morland and Annalisa at the same time. Go.
Well, Morland was a good song. He's a great singer. He's in a band in the UK, so he travels the UK. So we should support him as a UK national. I'm going to give the unpopular opinion. I thought the song was rubbish, and I've never liked it. Not a fan. Blah 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 blah. Not a fan at all. Holla, on the other hand, Holla, hello, great song. Really, really pleased for her that she made the final four. Well deserved. But when she came up against Adrian, there was only ever one winner, Adrian. But yeah, certainly I think the top four were the four I would have picked. Love that song.
Yeah, and I know, Yerna, you were a big fan of Holla, were you not?
Yes, I really liked it. It actually was my first place, you know. I really liked the sound and it's something different from Norway, you know. But I was surprised that it didn't go to the Super 2, you know, because I actually didn't like the bubble. It wasn't my cup of tea, you know.
And do you know what? I think there was so much to like about this song. The pink, the glitz, the bling, even the microphone was blinged up. I mean, this for me was brilliant. And it was great to see her in the final four. It was a shame she didn't go up against KEiiNO for the final. But we will look at those songs in a moment. Now, the next song of the night was Erland Bratland. It was a song of Sing For You. Now, this was actually performed twice this evening because there were technical problems with the pyrotechnics to begin with. It was a big ballad. It was basically him stood there with a microphone, a very traditional staging, if you would. Elliot, Erland Bratland, did he sing for you this evening? Oh, he needs to take his microphone off mute as well.
Yeah, sorry. It's been a long day. Erland, the song is fine, but I preferred it when Robbie Williams sang it 20 years ago. Sorry, am I the only one who hears feels in that song?
No, do you know what? I'm just looking at the running order and just wondering if there was anything in Norwegian TV that had a kind of sense of humour, because the song Feel by Ingrid Berg Mehus was the song afterwards, which is quite coincidental.
At least his dress sense is better than what Robbie Williams has become over the last 20 years. I'll give him that. But as it did feel like a Ryland tribute act singing a Robbie Williams tribute act song, it was a weird fever dream 3 minutes. Which is a shame, because I loved his song in 2015. I loved Thunderstruck, and I was hoping for something similar. I just didn't get it.
I had this as one of my favourites of the night, although to be perfectly honest, I can understand why people didn't necessarily go for it. I'm going to come to Michelle for this. Did you see this one doing anything this evening?
No. No, and I'm pretty sure that your hair and your beard don't match that well in colour. There was something sort of artificial about the way he looked. And I did have a little discussion with Martin about it does look like the baddie from Superman 2.
Do you like his lip? Like his lip filler, Michelle? You like his lips? He's looking like a duck going on there.
And he was stood there singing, bless him, and then he looked a bit like Adam Lambert but couldn't sing as well. And it was absolutely style over substance. It really was.
Superb. Do you know what? I knew you would be offering something like that. Now, as I've said, the next act of the night was Ingrid Berg Mehus. It was the song Feel. Wind machine, red flowy dress. Phil, was this a song that you thought should have actually made it into the final four this evening?
He was okay. It was pleasant enough. It wasn't a bad song. Another one with the dancer with the arms everywhere. It didn't really stand out for me. And the other thing, Norway, stop with the violins already. Just because you won once with it. Stop it.
And Joe, was this a song that you would have liked to have seen in the final four, or were you too hooked on some of the others?
Definitely not one I wanted to see. Yeah, she's a nice enough lady. I don't know. I didn't think she sang it very well. I thought she was a little bit off key at the beginning, and I didn't know it's just nerves. Certainly didn't come across to me that well anyway. But no, I must admit I wasn't a fan, and yeah, I was I knew which ones I wanted to win, and she certainly wasn't one of them, unfortunately.
Now, the next act of the evening was my personal favourite. Seventh act on, I thought, lucky number 7, Hank von Hell, Fake It. We had the hat, we had the cloak, we had the beard, and his idol was Ricky Martin, something I'm sure he has in common with Stuart. Stuart, Hank von Hell, surely this, there will be fire. Surely this is hashtag banger.
It was good. It was very, very good. Yeah, I must admit, I when I saw him come out with that makeup, I thought, blimey, Michelle's on stage. Love you, Michelle. Mwah. No, I thought it was great. Nothing beats a guy wearing makeup with a top hat, wearing a king's gown. I mean, it's just fantastic, wasn't it? It was great Eurovision, a great Eurovision moment. Who doesn't like hard metal at Eurovision? Yeah, it was a pity it didn't win, but yeah, such is life. Hank von Hell actually watches these shows and commented, so we got to be nice to him. Well done, Hank. You did great, mate.
You did brilliantly. Do you know what? It was a breathtakingly brilliant performance. I loved it. Absolutely amazing. And I'm going to give him a quick wave now if he is watching. Bill and Michelle, Hank von Hell, surely this should have won.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. For me, I thought it reminded me a bit of We're Not Going to Take It by Twisted Sister.
Yes.
This was better. And the performance was pure Spinal Tap. It was absolutely fantastic. Best song of the night.
I just put, on my nose, winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Hey, fantastic. And do you know what? If Tel Aviv are looking for an interval act, I think they should look no further. Okay, failing that, Stuart, you're going to Tel Aviv, you could do a Hank von Hell tribute act.
I'm up for that, Tom.
Hey. Now, the 8th act of the evening was Carina Dahl. It was a song, Hold Me Down, classy performance. Lots of, personally, I think they have been watching the show because, quite frankly, we say there will be fire. There was fire, definitely. Lots of orange swirling fire as part of the performance. Gustav, was this a surprise to you that it didn't do better?
No, honestly, I didn't like the song at all. And the best part for me was seeing Senek from Belgium in the green room.
And yeah, I can. Do you know what? And I can totally understand that as well. I'm going to bring Martin in on this discussion. Whenever I see the orange fire colours these days, I just think of Fuego. Do you think this might have impacted on Carina's chances?
This was basically during the show. I put the comments that the best bits of the whole bit with Carina was she looked very nice in her postcard, and there was the nice swirly effect on the floor, and that was probably about the plus points for this performance. It was too busy on the stage, weakest vocals of the night, probably the weakest song as well. So it was more like a little tiny flame, not a big fire.
Certainly no Fuego. Now,
cool.
The 9th act on this evening was Adrian Jorgensen. It was called The Bubble, and I'm going to share with you my comments on this before we begin, because it was a song that did get through to the gold final. One of the surprise packages, an effective background, pitched right. Never underestimate a man in Eurovision with a guitar. Elliot, The Bubble. What did you think? Surely this should have gone to Eurovision.
After all 10 have performed, I thought Adrian had it. I would have been very happy if he'd won. It would have probably been my favourite song selected so far if he'd won. Leading up to the show, didn't really pay attention to it. Seeing it live changed my mind. I mean, you can tell Alexander Volman, who was in Norway 2017, wrote this song alongside with a lot like Alexander singles outside to grab the moment. Yeah.
Oh, and we seem to be having a few
Do you think
technical difficulties with
my
your sound,
bandwidth?
Elliot.
I'm going to throw the router out the window, I swear. No, I really enjoyed this song. I think he could have won it. I've been really happy if he did win it. You could tell Alexander Thulman wrote it, and I honest to God do think with that sort of staging, the fact it was so clean and just done so effectively, he could have won Eurovision with that song. I legitimately think with that performance, Norway could have won. Not knocking the winners, but I wouldn't have been shocked to see that win.
Yeah. And do you know what? As someone who has seen, male singers stand there with a guitar and take home the trophy for their country more than once on the Eurovision stage, I think it could have been as well. Jörna, was Adrian a winner in your eyes?
No, I didn't like it that much. It was, yeah, it was a bit not boring, but kind of leaning towards boring, you know. For me, I was already thinking about KEiiNO who was performing next. I was like, yeah, next.
Oh. And next we do go. KEiiNO were last on with the song Spirit in the Sky. And I'm not talking about the Doctor and the Medics version either. This song was a song that we have to give, and credit where credit's due. Martin has been saying about this song winning for Norway for ages. And I'm going to have to come straight to Martin with this. Deserved victory?
Yes. Yes, in the end, I mean, when Morland hadn't got through to the final four, I thought, even though D-Sound and Adrian had got more jury votes, I thought, surely it must be KEiiNO. And I couldn't see any other winner. And basically, I commented that Norway had basically a choice between having potentially a top 5 with this one, or, for me, a possible semi-final do not qualify with Adrian Jorgensen, purely because Adrian's song got better as you listen to it more. It's another Suri Storm in that the more times you listen to it, the more you go, actually, this is getting better. I'm liking this. Whereas KEiiNO is like, bang, Spirit in the Sky, bang. It's catchy. You know, it's dynamic. They connect really well. The one thing that wasn't good this evening was the staging. But I think when it gets to Tel Aviv, they're going to have screens. They're going to be able to put their 3 emblems of the deer, the wolf and whatever the other animal that they've got on their logos in the background. They'll have more than just some people walking on with drums and with the flags. I think that this could be pretty epic, and I'm hoping it is, because if it wins, I will get £500.
So there is someone that has had more than a flutter, by the sounds of it, on Norwegian chances.
£20 at 25 to 1. There you go.
£20 at 25 to 1.
That's what I put on. So
my goodness. Mitchell, would you be putting £20 on Norway to take home the trophy this year?
No, not to take the trophy. You know, I like this song. I really do, but I mean, I like the way it's written, and I like it. But only thing I had against it was that I thought she looked amazing and everything about it was great. I wanted a little bit more stronger vocals, and I'm not a big fan of that kind of, you know, what's it called, Figaro kind of singing. Yeah, I don't know. And the funny thing was, though, I will say with this national selection, they clearly have some contract with the dance school because they were in everything. And the funny thing with this was I didn't notice until the last 10 seconds. I knew in the back there was some kind of dance presentation going on. But this one, the three of them captured my eye so much that I was like, you know what? I'm not even looking at whatever's going on behind them right now. So they did a good job. They had good performance skills. But yeah, it wasn't my favorite. And I'm not sure how it'll go at Eurovision. I think it'll actually do well. I think Yodel it did well in the public, and I think this would have the same kind of voting skills as Yodel it.
Okay, so let's actually think about Norway's chances in the final. Now, Norway, second half of semi-final 2. Is it going to qualify? First of all, let's go to Elliot. Let's go down the line. Is it going to qualify?
It'll qualify, yes. I would put money on it closing the semi-final.
And is it going to come anywhere of note in the final?
No, I think this has the same effect as Monsters. The fans will love it. The first-time viewers won't get it. It's coming bottom 5.
Okay. Gustav, what's your thoughts?
I think it's going to qualify, and I think it's going to have Sweden's support in the semi-final.
Okay. Can you see it setting the stage alight in the final?
What did you say?
In the final, if it qualifies to the final, where could you see it coming?
I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle. It's not standing out that much.
Okay. Joe, what's your opinion?
Yeah, it'll qualify, and I think it'll be top 5, to be honest. Maybe even the winner, I think. Just something different. Good staging with this, and I think they'll do it. People will love them. They're really nice people. That they engage with the fans, so people vote for them, definitely.
Jörna, is it therefore Oslo 2020?
I hope it's gonna be Brussels 2020. But I'm sure it will qualify to the final. I'm not sure if it's gonna be a winner, but I think they can reach the top 10.
Okay. Now, we know Martin's picked this as a winner. So I'm going to go to Phil and Michelle with this. What's going to happen?
Yeah, I think it'll qualify. It's different enough. It's not too bad. I'm not sure it'll do that well, sort of mid-table maybe. Not my cup of tea, but you never know. I'm always wrong. So.
Yeah, you're wrong. It's going to qualify and it's going to come 3rd.
Oh, bold prediction. Stuart, what are we thinking? What's the chat room thinking?
Well, the chat room are sort of talking more Portugal, Tom. So no comments on Norway. Certainly not on the winner. What do I think? Okay, so I'm going to go against the panel. I think this is the sort of song the fans love, but inevitably does badly at Eurovision. If you think back to last year, the song most closest to it is Monsters by Finland. It's not the same as Monsters, but it has a very similar feel. And I think this may just miss out on qualification. Sorry, I know the fans will be disappointed, and it will be a fan favourite in Tel Aviv, but I'm going to put it as just missing out.
At least I'm not alone in that thought that it won't do as well as people think, thankfully.
Do you know what? You are breaking Martin's heart here. Okay, you can almost see his wallet just bursting into tears.
Can I say
they have got 2 other Scandinavian ones in the semi-final as well, so I don't think there's any problem with it not getting through.
It would win 10 or 15 years ago, though. Not in 2019. 2009, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, they did win in 2009. Let's not forget that.
They did.
So, in the chat room also this evening, David says that Norway is bound to come in the top 5-10 in the final. But we do know that David is far more interested in what's going on in Portugal. David, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Olá, boa noite.
What's happening in Portugal at the moment?
Okay. Yes, we heard some old songs. We just heard Isara and Claudia, the last year representatives. Song Usually. Yes, the 8 acts performed in the first hour. We opened the show with like kind of the hosts, Filomena and Pipni singing like a joke, opening song, kind of peace love like Portugal. But then we heard the song. Then we have Amanvara, the 83 representative, and Annabella, the 90, also one of the nice performers, and Bunny Fernandes singing here with a song, one of my personal favorites songs as well. So, okay, I won my top 8 predictions. I make some switches, doing like the recaps that happened. I didn't hurt my phone. I didn't even vote. I just enjoyed the show and didn't vote because it costs money. So, I did 2 top 8s. My previous pre-show was Conan first, NBC second, Surma was third, then Matai, Kalima, Natalia, Mariana Grande, and Matvaj in last place. But during the show, I made some choices, and I think NBC is gonna win the show. This Conan comes second, Surma is third. I made some switch with Kalima is 4, Matai is my 5th, and the cloud is stay 6th, and Malapaj and Mariana is still my last places. But I don't know, everything can happen because we'll be a district jury and also the televote. Everything can happen.
This is very true. Now, David, about what time are we expecting to get a result in Portugal this evening?
I think the juries will be really soon. I know the show is gonna end like close to midnight, and it's expected to be a long show. Of course, like close to it. Like if we are in the second, now the 3rd hour now of the show, so probably close to midnight 15 London time. I really.
Okay, so if you are watching live and you are thinking to yourself, I want to see what happens in Portugal, when we finish, get yourselves over to the live stream, get yourself watching Portugal. David's recommending NBC for the win. I know that could potentially devastate Stuart, who I know is a big Surma fan. Is this not right?
Well, yeah, that's very true, Tom. Although having had the Portuguese people shit all over our video this last week, I'm now Team Telimovis. Come on, Conan.
Are Telimovis going to do anything, David?
He will destroy the televote. That's for sure. I'm quite nervous about the juries, people. Before the show, they really anxious to see the jury's opinions for Telema, because this jury is slightly different from the second one. Even though its performance this tonight was not as strong, with maybe vocal not as strong, but the live show was better than the semifinals, but the vocals was better in the semis than the semis. NBC vocals kind of the same, Surma slightly better live show, but my biggest surprise was Kalima. They proved their voice live. They can be contenders for the podium. Winners, no.
Okay, that will be interesting, and that will be something for Telimovis fans to look out for. And don't forget, if you are a Telimovis fan, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, okay? And don't forget, you can also download this as well, so you can actually listen to us on Stitcher. That's Stitcher, not Snitcher, and I have to think about that every single time. iTunes. You can also listen to us on TuneIn as well. Now, before I say goodbye to my fantastic panel, Stuart is back here on Wednesday night. There will be fire, I am sure, Stuart.
Stop nicking my catchphrase, Tom. Get your own catchphrase. It will be fire. Do not miss our show at what time is it, Tom? It's 2300 CET, Central European Time, on Wednesday evening, 10 o'clock GMT. We are going to preview the Melodifestivalen final. We are going to talk Belgium, hopefully with Jörna. We're going to talk Netherlands. And we're going to talk Cyprus. Cyprus will officially release their song next week. It's going to be a good week for internal selections. Most of the songs come out. There will be some great discussion points. Do not miss it. It will be fire.
Fantastic. And yes, the deadline is looming. I do believe it's the 10th or 11th of March that all the entries have to be in by. So we are entering those closing stages. And speaking of closing stages, it is time for me to thank the panel for their contributions this evening. Thanks very much to David in Portugal.
Bye-bye. Hugs and kisses for everyone, and hope for the best song wins. I got to say.
Hey, thanks very much to Elliot.
Thank you very much, guys, as always.
Thanks very much to Joe.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks to Jörna.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thanks to Martin.
Thanks, everyone, again.
Thanks to Phil and Michelle.
Thanks, bye.
Thanks to Mitchell. Mitchell, you need to unmute your microphone.
Thank you, Bonsoir Europe.
Thank you to my co-host, Stuart.
Thanks, Tom. Great show. Well done. Fantastic. Thanks, everyone.
And, of course, a massive thank you to our ESC Fan TV newbie of the evening. A big thanks to Gustav.
Thank you. It was so nice to be with you today.
And thank you all for watching. Stuart's back on Wednesday. And until then, it's bye for now. Bye.
Bye.